Hi there everybody, this is David, and I've just gotta say, whenever I first played SaGa Frontier 2 back in the day, I didn't like it all that much. My only experience really with the entire series were the first 3 Final Fantasy Legend games back on the Game Boy, which I still think back then I didn't really know that they were actually part of the SaGa series. Yeah, the internet was still in its infancy, and I just didn't know any better. You know? All I knew was that this was a brand new game from Square, and I had to try it out, thinking it would be just like, Final Fantasy, and then end up being just a little bit disappointed. But now that I do know a whole lot more about the series and what it's all about, 25 something years later, I dove right on into this game like I was meeting up with an old friend. And I want to tell you all about my experience with it, and I definitely do think that's totally worth a sub, as I'm trying my hardest to hit 1,000 subscribers. With your help, your like, and your sub, I just know that I can get there, so thank you so much for that. And also, please do stay tuned for an exclusive giveaway code for my subscribers for the game as well. And now, let me tell you all about SaGa Frontier 2 HD Remastered. I've just got to say it. I am much more in depth with the SaGa series nowadays than I was back then. And believe me, if there's one series that has a pretty steep learning curve, it is this one. We recently received a from-the-ground-up remake of Romancing SaGa 2, which changed everything to be so much more user-friendly. So if you played that game, and you think that this game is more like that, then, man, I hate to burst your bubble, cause this is not that. This is just a remaster. Granted, a lot of quality of life features have been added to this remaster, but at the end of the day, this is a remaster of a PlayStation 1 game, and it has all the trappings of what that entails. So while they did add some user-friendly features, it's nothing like last year's Romancing SaGa 2 remake. Rather than following multiple protagonists like many of the other games from the series do, this follows a much more linear story of 2 different protagonists. Gustav, the prince who was unfortunately born without any sort of magical power, and was thus disowned and exiled from his own kingdom, and Will, a fledgling digger, pursuing the mystery of the enigmatic egg. Both stories are not created equal though, as you will be controlling Will much more than you ever would Gustav, though I do personally think that Gustav's story is just a tad bit more interesting. You can play their stories in whatever order you want to. If you want, you could play all of Will's story and then completely ignore Gustav, or vice versa. It is 100% up to you. What really put this game on the map back in the day was the gorgeous watercolor style graphics, which are now just absolutely stunning in HD. Not only that, but brand new artwork has been included as well as all sorts of new events, new characters, new gameplay options, a new inheritance system, speed up mode, post-game content, as well as a new game plus where you can carry over a ton of your skills, items, and abilities. Then there's auto-saving, and the formerly Japanese exclusive Pocket Station minigame, Dig Dig Digger, has been included here as well for the first time. I always remember seeing that stupid thing pop up in the first game and being pissed that we couldn't access it, but now we can, so that's super neat. Do keep in mind though, with all those additions, the difficulty options have not been added. There is only one difficulty choice, which is the standard, and that can be a bit on the harder side. This is an older game, and a SaGa game, after all. You explore dungeons and towns via the beautiful pre-rendered backgrounds, and the dungeons themselves are chock full of on-screen enemies to encounter. And whenever I say that, I mean that. The encounter rate is still the same as it was back in the original version. So I don't think it's reduced or anything else like that, but it's not ever really all that unbearable because of those aforementioned speed-up options. What can be a little bit confusing though is where to go, what your destination is, and just what you're supposed to be doing. There are no mini-maps. There are no larger maps. There's no indicator saying, hey, this is where you came from, or anything saying, hey, this is where you need to go. You just kind of like wander around aimlessly until you happen upon your destination, which can be good or bad depending on your outlook. Personally though, I had to pull out my strategy guide from 2000 to figure out where to go in these maps because this bitch was lost. Also, it seems that things can kind of like happen sort of randomly. In one early game dungeon, you'll be traveling with your friend. Then all of a sudden, without any forewarning whatsoever, you switch control to an entirely new protagonist. Then you meet up with your former protagonist, and all of a sudden the friend that you were traveling with was kidnapped. You never see him get kidnapped. There's no explanation of it. There's no dialogue for it. It's just odd and jarring. And things like that happen all throughout the entire game. so you can either just kind of roll with it, or you can let it annoy you. It annoyed me. The battle system is turn-based, and as I said before, it does veer on the harder side. Not only in combat, but with weapons breaking and the LP system, which if you don't know stands for life points, and whenever you're out of life points, you're out of life forever. Though those characters will just get removed from your party in that story section. Whenever you get to a new story section, they'll be miraculously revived, and you recruit them again if you want to. Just like the Final Fantasy Legend games back on the Game Boy, each piece of equipment has a number of uses, and once those uses are used, then the weapon will break. And money is rather hard to come by here, so you'd better be digging for new equipment, or finding those treasures in the dungeons. Though, if you do happen to come across some quells, that is, ancient artifacts, you will be able to find some weapons that are indestructible. Just like in all the SaGa games, you glimmer new techniques as you use them. However, nothing is a mystery here. You can see your sword, axe, and spear levels go up, as well as your fire, water, wind, and earth magic levels go up. And whenever you reach a new weapon or magical threshold, you'll learn new spells or new weapon techniques. It's not a hard stuff to understand, it just takes a little bit of practice. That being said though, because of all the frequency of the combat, I do wish that there was an auto battle feature, but again, because of the speed up, it isn't so bad. And because of the difficulty level 2, you probably just can't get through with auto attacks anyway. You're going to have to be adjusting your strategy on the fly. Not only do weapons break, but each time that you use a weapon skill, it'll use up some of your WP or weapon points. And it's the same thing whenever you use your spells. It'll use up some of your SP or spell points, though you do regenerate some SP and WP each turn depending on the equipment that you have equipped. Also, you'll recover a percentage of your HP after each battle. One thing that really pissed me off about the original game was that it would seem that you would constantly have to re-level up your characters every time that you got them. Because the game does take place over the course of many years, a lot of characters will come and go. However, in order to fix that, an ingenious inheritance system has been implemented here, so that any character that's in your current party can inherit the growth levels of your previous characters, making it so that grinding out your previous characters is never wasted. Not only that, but you can switch your inventory between Will and Gustav's party at any time, as well as what is equipped on your characters who are not in your party, so no equipment is ever lost forever. And it also really ensures that you have plenty of weapons stockpiled just in case something breaks. All told, this here is a very complex game, Baden Square's golden era, and I do think that it still holds up today, especially if you're a fan of harder games. They may require a bit of grinding and a little bit of map making too. I mean, why there at least isn't a larger map is beyond me, but I digress. I thoroughly enjoyed my time revisiting SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered. Now that I have more experience with the series, I was really able to dive right on in and enjoy it from the get-go, without being too confused or too put off by it like I was the first time around, 25-something years ago. And now that there's even more content and more characters to experience, this is definitely the definitive way to play this old masterpiece. But wait, there's more! Didn't I say that I have a giveaway? I do! Within 1 week's time, I'll be giving away 1 Steam code to 1 lucky subscriber. Yeah, you do have to be subscribed in order to enter this giveaway. The winner will simply have to tell me what their favorite SaGa game is and why. That's it. Just tell me which one's your favorite and why it's your favorite. Just talk to me. I can't wait to hear all of your responses. And if you like this video, there's another video that I really do think that you'll thoroughly enjoy. So please do be sure to check that one out. Please leave a like and a comment, and as always, have a good day.